All right, we are live, everyone. Good evening. My name is Reggie Beloved, and today is June 1 to 2024, and we're having another interview. Tonight, I'm joined by Shane Rashid, who has been kind enough to join me so that we can talk about the things that we love to talk about. But before we get there, if you do not know, Haitian Free Thinkers is one of the world's few groups for Haitians who are secular. I happen to be a Haitian American atheist, and that's pretty rare. And so back in 2012, about 2 years after the big earthquake in Haiti, I started Haitian Free Thinkers. Um, for multiple reasons as a way to kind of find other people who are secular because it's not a big thing in our community, at least it wasn't at the time. um, to also educate people about the causes of things such as earthquakes, which have natural explanations instead of what happened with what Pat Robertson said. And for 10 plus years later, we're still here. And every now and again, I do these interviews. So we are on Facebook. That's our primary place. That's where the group is at. We have well over 500 members at this time. When I started the group, I was actually looking for about 10 Asian atheists, and I'm glad to say that I've met that goal. And we are always looking for more people who are interested in us, who understand what we are all about, and who are interested in connecting and community building and all that good stuff. So that's who we are. That's what we do. If you are interested or you want to find out more, just Google Haitian Free Thinkers. Everything you find should be us. Uh, yeah. So Haitian Free Thinkers. We do have a Google Voice number, which I encourage all of you guys to have. It's Google Voice, which means that you can use it worldwide. We do have a WhatsApp connected to it, and that number is 678-820-9474. 678-820-9474. And that's how you can text us, me, and we can chop it up. So that means that if you're in Haiti, if you're in the Philippines, if you're on the moon, as long as you could get WhatsApp, you should be able to get into contact with us or me. Yeah, so Facebook is the where the group is. So if you're on Facebook, you want to join the group, simply send a request to join or friend me, Reggie Beloved, and then I'll get you in the group. It's pretty that simple. We are also on YouTube, Instagram, etc. So, um, so Shane, this is where you do your introduction of who you are, whatever you want to say, basic bio stuff, and then we'll get going.
Well, I'm Shane. I use he, him pronouns. I like long walks on the beach. I don't have a longer introduction than that.
Wow, okay. Long walks on the beach. What's the closest beach to your house?
30 minutes. It's right around the corner.
Okay. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Um, we can go in depth into that. What makes Haitian free thinkers so special, so unique, so dear to my heart, is that we are doing things that I'm guessing nobody else is doing. So we talked about me being an atheist and trying to normalize it. So I've heard you say that you're an atheist, and that kind of started the thoughts of getting you on the show. And the reason why that's so interesting to me is because like why are you atheist?
Well, I'm atheist because I was raised atheist. I don't think I ever really I wasn't raised on like Christianity. I wasn't raised on the Bible. So it was more of a story than it was like the truth. And I've always been a very scientific person. So it's like I need a reason more than faith. So I was raised that way, but also as I've gotten older, it's kind of like it's what makes sense as well. Like,
Hmm. How is a person raised atheist?
well, raised atheist, not taken to church, not taught any biblical stories or philosophies or anything like that. I actually one thing that was very embarrassing for me was I used to think for some reason that God and Satan were brothers. I never read any of it, was never read any of the book. Like specifically Christianity is what I think of when religion is mentioned, but I just wasn't raised on any of it.
Okay, so you never thought that everything you see around you is the product of some kind of creator that, put you here to, I don't know, do whatever.
No, I have seen people say that like look at the flowers, look at how beautiful they are, they must have a creator. Look at how perfect things are. The system runs so well, the universe runs so well that it must have a creator. And that's just like I don't see it that way because if you take the human body, it's like it's not perfect. A lot of people are born with bodies don't work properly or find that their bodies fail them later on. It's like I wouldn't if I was a creator, I wouldn't make the world like this at all. Even if the plan is ineffable, it isn't linear, it doesn't make sense.
Okay. Um, how old are you?
19.
Okay. I'm a little bit older than 19. I know I look 20-ish, but just a little bit older. So you said you were not raised religious. So tell me about your background, what's your parents, and
Well,
most people are religious, so it's kind of strange, I think, for people to hear that you were raised atheist. Did they were you abused? Were you what happened to you? How come you don't love
well,
Jesus?
well, I know you know most of the
Hmm,
story better than I do,
me?
Father.
What?
But before you came into the picture, my mother, she was, I would say, like, I wouldn't say a struggling Christian, but like she had been questioning things that she was raised on for a long time. And she tried to read the Bible, the children's Bible, to me once. I asked a question she couldn't answer, and she didn't feel comfortable telling me things that she couldn't explain. So that was really it as far as mom raising me. Like, she never actively taught me anything that she couldn't explain or she didn't understand herself. And that was it. You're not born with an innate like love for God. It's taught. So it's like it didn't have to be abused out of me. And then you came into the picture and you were much more atheist than mother was at the time, if I'm remembering things properly. And she went from, I guess, being on the fence to being like, this is not true. And then I mean, that's it. How do you explain a childhood that, like, I don't have any other reference? Like, I don't know how religious children were raised. I don't, I feel like it was just a very normal childhood. nothing really happened other than we didn't go to church. Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. What story were you being told, and what question did you raise? Like, I'm trying to, I don't.
Oh, I do not remember at all. It's it's a story that mom told me, so it's like, you know, your sometimes your brain creates false memories. But I think it might have been like David and Goliath and like how does a rock kill a giant? That didn't make any sense. I think he used a sling, and I was a child. I don't really understand what a sling is. I've never seen someone use a sling. I know that they can create some pretty strong momentum now, but I'm still like, I don't see how that could kill somebody, let alone like a giant with all this power. I don't know the story that well, but Goliath was like a 9 foot tall man that was like, I don't know, terrorizing people, had like inhuman abilities. I'm like, how do you kill that guy with one rock? And like, I couldn't get that answer because it doesn't make any sense. But now that I'm saying it out loud, I realize that the answer is that God gave, was it David the strength through the rock to kill Goliath. But it's like, I don't think the book ever explicitly said that. And why would God do that? There are more important things that God could be doing than making a rock as strong as a bullet. I would compare it to kill someone.
Okay, I agree. God could be doing much better things, like, I don't know, stopping earthquakes from killing thousands of people, stopping wars in Palestine, just things like that. No big ask. Okay, so that's interesting. That children's Bible, is it still around?
Oh, definitely. It's downstairs in the library.
Really? So your mom couldn't answer the questions, and okay, but like, were you influenced by, like, were you, I guess, how do I say this, forced into atheism? Did somebody kind of make you declare, like, okay, you don't believe, or were you indoctrinated in any way?
Well, I would say like the black and white answer is no, but also I was very influenced by you and mom as my parents to be strictly atheist. So when the question is asked, it's like, yes, I'm atheist. And it's also not indoctrination for me, but a pride thing. Um,
Hmm?
it's like I am in a way very proud to be an atheist because I'm proud of being factual, of being scientific, of being smart. Like to be an atheist is to be the one person who understand how the world really is. So, I mean, I wasn't indoctrinated, I wasn't forced. There was influence, but at the end of the day, like it was me, it was me who decided I was atheist when asked the question, which no one ever really asked me with any seriousness, like, are you religious? You don't believe in God? Are you an atheist? Like, how dare you be an atheist? Or how dare you not be an atheist? I feel like you and mom really raised me to not ask that question too hard. Like, it's not important that I be an atheist. It's important that I'm a good person, and like I don't need to be an atheist, but like, um, yeah, I don't need to be an atheist. That was never something I felt outside of myself.
All right. Really good answer. That was a important word that I wanted to harp on. Do you know what today is?
What month is it? It's Pride Month. It's Pride Month. Is that what we're going
Yeah,
towards?
it's Pride Month, and we're going to touch on that. Because I only found out about Pride Month maybe a year or two ago, and 1st of June, new month, new start. Um, I get to start back doing interviews, so I just thought that today would be a good day. The house is calm, and yeah, it's going great. So we're gonna touch on that because that's gonna be part of the story. What about so you? None of your peers are religious, like because they say that living here in the South, most people are religious. You can't really go too far without seeing a church or being invited to church. You didn't have any kind of pressure, anybody kind of threaten you with hell or anything like that.
Well, specifically threatening with hell, no, but I have and had a lot of religious peers. I mean, it's the South, you know. You can't walk too far seeing a church, that's true. There's a lot of Korean churches where we live, but I did have a lot of specifically Christian peers. It's just like I feel like, and I might be wrong with this, but my generation is the generation that isn't too serious about specifically like Christianity. Like I never had someone be like very strange to me because I said I was an atheist, which I didn't like say that outwardly to a lot of people, and I wasn't a very social person. But when I was friends with people and I would tell them I'm an atheist, and be like, "Oh yeah, word, I don't care." But I did. There was this girl in acting class I was in freshman year of high school, and she was Christian, and I was like, "Oh, you're Christian? Like that's interesting." Like like I don't think I ever met someone who said it the way she did. It was something she said, like she was very proud to be Christian, and I was like, and I don't know what I was thinking because I was so far removed from like Christianity and the church and everything. I was like, what parts of the book do you believe? So, and she just looked at me like, huh? And I feel like in that moment, she was looking at me funny. And we were having this very long, good conversation. And I was like, I really like this girl. Like, like I could be her friend. And she told me she was Christian, and I asked her funny questions, and she was like, "Are you not Christian?" I'm like, "No, I'm an atheist." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And then everything just like fizzled out and just was awkward and bad, and she never talked to me again. Like that was like the first 2 weeks of school or something like that. She never talked to me again, and she stayed in acting like for 2 years, I think, before she dropped the class. So I feel like that's the worst encounter with like a peer where they were a Christian and I felt weird for being an atheist. But it's like even then I was like, that's not, my fault. She just didn't like that about me, and that's fair. And I have friends now who are Christian. My partner is Christian, and they know I'm atheist. They don't care, like, and they're very different Christians to like someone who is like a very strict by the book, by the church Christian.
Okay, fantastic. For those of you who are watching or will watch in the future, this is part of the Haitian Free Thinkers. We used to have a radio show, it's kind of defunct, but I do interview series. If you're interested in coming on, especially if you're part of the group, just contact me, and then you could be part of this fun. I really enjoy doing this, but this one is special because Shane is actually in the same house as me right now, and you're not just anybody, so you're already kind of at the cat out of the bag as far as our relationship is concerned. And I remember when I got into the movement because it's kind of like a movement, you know. For me, I became an atheist in August of 2009. There was a lot, oof, there was a lot going on, but the one of the things that eventually I had to think about is children, how to deal with children, how do we raise children? There's a lot of challenges, and one of the big things that I made sure of was I did not want to force anything, or basically like I wanted the kids to kind of make their own mind. I didn't want to unduly influence them, at least in any way negative, obviously. But you know, I just didn't want anybody to say that I make them do this or whatever. Um, so we have two other kids in the family. We're a family of five, and I believe Charisma or Nico. I think it was Nico. He had a little time when he was talking about God and Jesus. I don't know if you remember that. And I think that was due to influence on the bus, peers. I don't hear him talking about it. But yeah, so that was one of the big things that I was concerned about. One of my big concerns um, also was that as you grew up and made up your own mind, being that I was going to be religiously neutral as much as I could be, was that I didn't want you to fall into like a super religious, basically a cult. And so I'm glad that didn't happen, because I fantasized about doing some really bad things to the leadership of that cult, but anyway, it worked out, so I'm glad. But I don't know if you remember when we used to live in Margate, I actually invited you to go to a mosque that was close to our home. Do you remember anything like that?
Um, I don't remember when I was invited, but I did remember you talking about it later. And the decline was definitely because I didn't understand the question being asked.
Right. So I'm a big proponent of education, exposure, culture. So I've actually taken you guys to a wonderful Mandir, which is close by here. It's about 20-25 minutes ago. For those who don't know, a Mandir is like a Hindu temple or church. We've gone there several times. Do you remember that place?
No.
It's okay. So I remember, and I know you were younger, um, thinking like, like I want you to be exposed but safely so I can be there. If I was reading you the Bible stories, I would answer your questions to the best of my knowledge, because I'm a Bible nerd. So yeah, that was my intent back then. You said that you were not interested, and I guess you didn't understand what that was. But I think that a lot of times, even though you may not grow up in the system, it's good to know what people do, what they believe, so that it doesn't kind of catch you by surprise. But eventually, and another reason why I kind of wanted to do this interview, and I think it was a good timing for it, is you recently took a religions course in college. So can you expand upon what you learned, on what you liked or didn't like about the course?
um, well, I don't even know how to start. I do want to say like I took the class wanting to not only understand religion around the world but also to understand people, cuz I feel like at the core of most society is religion. So to understand the core is to better understand everything else. And one thing, I mean, I learned a lot. I learned a lot, and I probably knew more a month ago than I do now because it all kind of fell out of my head. But I, um, I very much enjoyed learning about the like more Asian religions. Hinduism has always been like, it's always been a religion that called to me. So learning about it in class was like very, it was very satisfying. There was a lot that I didn't understand before that, like taking the class, it really opened my eyes. Um, I've lost my train of thought. Hinduism is just a very like different. It's. I feel like in a lot of ways it's like almost the exact opposite of Christianity. In the class, we learned about the different divas, and karma, and the reincarnation cycle, and learning of the religions that branched off from Hinduism, which is impressive, like Buddhism. Wow, my train of thought is just leaving me. Buddhism and Taoism, and the another one is like eluding me right now.
Sikhism, Jainism.
I wanted to say those ones, but we didn't learn a lot about those ones in class, despite my professor constantly being like, "Ah, I really want to teach you guys about Jainism, but it's not in the curriculum or the textbook or whatever." And he wrote the class himself, so I don't know why he said that. I really Taoism, that's what it is. I really, really enjoyed Taoism. Like when I learned about those religions, it felt like I was being seen in a way, like those people that came up with the religion, that built it up, like those religions that built it up, like looked at the world very differently, I feel like, than like the Abrahamic religions, which we also learned about in class. Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, which was so boring because my teacher insisted on going into such detail more about the history rather than like the the philosophy and the teachings, because like a lot of the branches of like Buddhism, Taoism, and wow, I keep forgetting Taoism, like their founders wrote a lot, and they were very like, they had rules, but they had a lot of like philosophy. So um my thoughts are very scattered. I felt a lot when I took the class, but Taoism, I'll talk about that, so I have something to kind of like stay on. But Taoism, the Tao, it being compared to water in the class, the Tao being like the energy, like comparable to like God, and how God is in everything, and like Tao is the way, it's in all of us, it guides us, and it's like water because it's nurturing, it's gentle, but also it will find its way if it needs to. Like if that is what will happen, it will happen. Water can split a rock, and the Tao can split even the harshest of minds, so that it can go forward to what it needs to be. And I very much like just was like, that's just like, that's beautiful, that's amazing. Like Hinduism, having the divas, and following the diva that like you feel is what you need personally to clear your karma and like move on to nirvana, and like be pure and be neutral. I learned a lot, and I feel like those things really stuck to me. Like those religions really stuck to me, and I feel like I could just point out very specific things on and on. Like I really enjoyed that, to some Hindus, like Jesus can be accepted as a diva, and I'm like, that's amazing, that's nothing like Christianity. if you some Christians, if you told them you like are worshiping a diva, and you follow Hinduism, they would be like, that's blasphemy. Like, why would you follow that god? You have multiple gods, they're blue. And then you tell them, like, oh yeah, but I also follow Jesus in my own way. They'd be like, no, you worship Jesus and like Vishnu, for example. So it's like, you're immediately, the fact that you worship Jesus, like, you might as well not even worship Jesus. Like, you're no god before me. Like, it's very black and white. Like, you cannot take what you need from other gods. That's I feel like that's what I really learned from those religions in that class. It's like, it's not about rigidly following a structure. It's not about worshiping a god. It's about finding peace with yourself, finding peace with your community, finding peace with nature. Like, it's not about God. Technically, it's not about one specific god. it's not about it's not about anyone but you. And I feel like some Christians, Muslims, Jews, um they try to make it about like your personal connection with God. And I mean, the way the Bible writes God, it's not about you. It's not about God's love for you. It's about your subservience to God. It's about your fear of God. He is your maker, therefore you should respect him with fear and subservience. And the Asian religions, like, really, those ones aren't about that. I don't know if I can speak on any other Asian religions other than those, because those are the ones I learned about. Those are the ones I'm talking about. But it's like, I feel like I gained a different perspective on life. I don't see religion as a negative blob in my head anymore. Like, whenever religion is brought up, I don't think so negatively of it anymore, because I understand that not everyone sees religion like Christianity sees their religion. Um yeah, that's my very
Um,
long
no,
answer.
that's fine. That's fine. I enjoyed learning it because that's what it's all about. I do wish to press you about some one definition, but maybe multiple, because not everybody's gonna know what those terms mean. A diva, when I think of a diva, it's not necessarily a positive thing. When you said diva, what is that like from what you learned? What is a diva?
Well, divas are the Hindu gods, and they're not really gods. And the way that my teacher described it, the way that stuff like that was talked about in the class was kind of nuanced, because I think specifically with Hinduism, there's a lot of, I mean, with all religion, there's a lot of arguing and whatever, whatever. But the multiple explanations that my teacher gave, what I took it from, what I took from it was kind of like a simile. So the divas are an extension of, I'm pretty sure in Hinduism it's called Brahman, which is the god within everything, the divine force, the stuff that makes up everything, that keeps it flowing, that keeps it alive. Brahman is like the sun, and the rays that come from it are the divas. They're extensions of this force that's neutral. Like, it's Brahman is not a person, or like even like a cluster of thoughts. It's life itself. And from life itself come the divas, who are born for humanity. Really, they're kind of simply there to guide you closer to life itself, to Brahman, to being that pure natural force of life. um and they're all different. they're all meant to be worshipped in different ways. They all clear your karma in different ways, and they're 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 gods, but they're not gods. They're extension of gods of God, but not really God. Yeah,
All right, perfect. A diva, and the way I normally hear it is usually a woman who is very high maintenance, and it's been extended to people who are high maintenance. Usually, because I'm a big football fan, um, usually they talk about players who are, self-centered, selfish, who, want a lot of attention. They call them divas. So that's why I wanted to expand on that. So that's great. Listen, if you guys are watching this live or in the future, this is part of the Haitian Free Thinkers thing. Okay. So if you're loving this, please subscribe, share, like, comment, all that good stuff. You know what to do. Um, it's already 36 minutes past the hour, so time is flying by fast. Does it feel like it's been 36 minutes?
definitely not.
Okay, so you're having fun. That's my point. Because a lot of people are quite shy and nervous about coming on and talking to me. I don't know why. I'm like, it's a regular conversation, and you're doing great. So thank you. But like I said, I'm keeping track of the time and making sure I hit all the big points. So 36 minutes passed. I mentioned Pride Month because that's, like I said, something that is going to be part of the story. Um, and before I got on, well, in preparation for the show, I looked up David Cato to remind myself a little bit of his story. Do you know anything about David Cato?
Nope.
Do you know who Charlotte Jeudi is?
No.
Okay, that's
The
fine.
name is familiar though.
That's fine. So David Cato was a activist in the Uganda who got murdered, unfortunately. And I looked it up, and it's been over 13 years. And I learned about him while he was alive, and then just like that, somebody somebody killed him. I don't know what happened to the investigation. It didn't seem like the authorities were very motivated to do anything about that. The Uganda is a very, very, very terrible place to be for people in that community. And I don't know, that one really bothered me because you could tell that he was a nice, gentle fellow, doing something honestly very, very scary in a place that is hostile, like so hostile that it's palpable. And the connection with everything is that, in the secular community, we talk about how we are fighting for normalcy, rights, exposure, and everything. And a lot of times they compare it to the LGBT movement, which they've been fighting for their rights for a long time. There's been marquee movements, and now we have Pride Month, and so now it's kind of like a lot more awareness, and so there's it's a learning curve for everybody who don't know. But yeah, the David Cato thing really impacted me. And Charles Jeudi, he's like the Haitian David Cato. Unfortunately, the same thing happened to him. I believe I had the opportunity to interact with Charles Jeudi um, on Facebook before what happened to him. Um, and unfortunately, again, it's been years now. I don't know what happened to that investigation, but it just to me like shows how difficult things are for people um, who are trying to keep it real, be themselves, and at the same time, like take on the challenge of spreading awareness in hostile environments. And that's something really close to my heart because I It may not be that same type of danger for atheists, depending where you are, but I know that, uh, coming out as an atheist is sometimes described in similar language, but there's a story that you had to tell your parents. That's my understanding. So you want to touch up on a little bit about that?
Um, my story, my queer identity. You mean?
Yes,
Well, um, I am transgender. You know this.
I
Your
do.
audience now knows this. Yes, I'm transgender. I'm female to male. I use he him pronouns. And I'm also bisexual. Um, well, coming out as queer was definitely a lot harder than coming out as atheist. A lot harder. Because hey, I don't want to say. Well, I do want to say Haitian culture is not very queer friendly. You're not really. I feel like most Haitians aren't really brought up being like you can be anything you want to be, including gay. That's fine because a lot of Haitians are very religious, and even if they're not, it's not really um, a talked about thing. It's not really an accepted thing. But you and mom were definitely not bigoted towards me. There was no hate, but it was still difficult because I was never taught what being queer was, specifically being bisexual. Like I was never taught about gay people. Some people have like that experience of like their parent being like, you see that gay person, don't be that gay person because being gay is terrible. I never even had that. I didn't know that people of the same gender could love each other um until I was like in middle school, and that's when I came out as bisexual, I think, to mom. um and then the grapevine happened with you. I don't remember coming out to you, but I remember being very tearful and telling mother like, "Oh, I think I'm bisexual." Like, and I was a girl at the time, so I was like, "I think I like girls," and she was like, "Okay, good for you. That's. I'm glad you told me." And that was it. That was it. For that conversation. And I was very embarrassed because I thought it was a bigger deal than it was. But coming out as trans was a much different story. It was a very long, drawn out thing. And I feel like people talk about coming out as like a very like I've been very on this train of realizing that people like to paint things as black and white that it really aren't, and coming out is one of those things. Like people make it sound like you come out and that's it. um Now everybody knows, and you have it out, but it's really not like that. Like coming out for a lot of people happens more than once, of varying difficulties. Sometimes I have to come out to people I don't know very well. But the big one was like the most excruciating one, coming out to myself. That coming out as transgender to myself was the most difficult, like coming out uh experience that I've ever had, because it's not easy to accept when you have a lot to do. Like I wouldn't compare it to having like something medically wrong with you, because that's like it's a different thing. But it's like I would say that if I were to compare it, like that's like finding out that you have a terminal illness. It's like you have to grieve that. You have to come to terms with that. And it's not coming out as transgender, being transgender isn't as easy as somebody just telling you you're transgender. That's something that you have to figure out yourself. So it was very, very difficult, like within myself, to say, like, with like strict certainty, I'm a boy, I'm a man now. I i i was not meant to be born a girl. I was not meant to grow up to be a woman. Like all the hatred I had for being seen as female isn't misdirected. It isn't because I don't like misogyny. It's because I am a man. So coming out to myself, um, that was very difficult. And then I came out to um, my mother, mom, and I remember it was anticlimactic, but it was also like a major setback because I came out to her while I was still coming out to myself. And I didn't really know what transgender was at the time. I didn't have the word for it. Um, Nobody ever told me that that was something I could be at the time. So I remember being in the car and turning to mom and being like, "I think I should have been born a boy. Like I wish I was a boy. Like I it's it sucks that I have to be a girl. Like that's just not something that I would have wished for myself." And I remember her being like, "So you just want a penis?" And I was just like, "No, like that's not it." And she literally said, "You probably just don't you don't like the misogyny, you don't like the idea of growing up to be a woman who is like seen as lesser than in the world." And like that was a major setback, and that was like not a real coming out because she in a way didn't believe me. And the conversation went nowhere. So I feel like I said the words like, "I think I'm a boy, I think I'm transgender," multiple times before it was genuinely accepted by her. And then was transferred over to you, my father. And I don't know, like it's such a up and down strenuous path that I don't remember the exact moment where it stuck. I don't remember the exact moment where like I said it and it was true in your mind and mom's mind. Cuz coming out is like it's a two-way street also. Like you have to not only hear it but accept it as the truth. You have to believe it. And like being gay or like having a different like sexual identity is one thing to not believe, but to believe that someone is a completely different gender is like a very different thing, because gay people are talked about but trans people are really not. So that's, I mean, there's so much more. Like, you guys weren't bigoted, but it was hard for you to believe. And most of my turmoil came from that, from being questioned constantly. And I'm still accepting it myself. So it's like, how can I even say strictly explain my emotion behind it? Like, how can I justify what I am when everybody else isn't me, like it hasn't gone through what I've gone through? But I think I I a lot of queer people say that queer people with accepting families say that they wish that their parents would have had a more negative or maybe overly positive reaction to them coming out. And I never experienced that, but I did have my overly negative situation with my grandmother on my mother's side, where I told her I was transgender, and she was like, "What is that?" And then I was like, "I think that like, I'm a girl now, but I want to be a boy." and I think this was like in middle school, and she just started yelling like yelling, talking in circles, talking about God made you this way, yada yada yada. And like, I don't know, I blocked out most of it because it's like it was a lot, and she was saying things I'd never heard before. I'm like, why is this coming up now, you know? I know I just said it to you, but it's like, how was I supposed to know that you felt that way if you never said it? Like, if it was so bad that I turned out this way, why did you never say that? But that was really bad. I just, coming out is hard. Um Coming out was hard, and it was long. But that's yeah, that's mostly everything.
Mhm. Okay, well, well said. Straight from you. Thank you for sharing that. I've been thinking about, I'm part of the story, I'm part of the reality, but I've been thinking about um, this for a long time. Haitian free thinkers, I really believe is uh, historical, like the first person on the moon type of thing. Um, we are leaving a record for somebody else in the future. I try to add as much Creole as possible, um, but keep it natural. So we're speaking English. So uh, the journey has been very difficult. It has, and of course I've been part of it, witnessing it, living it, from my perspective, obviously. But it's real life. It's not easy, and again, I think it's part of that, uh, package, that I'm trying to bring forth to the larger community. By that I mean, hey, Haitian people worldwide, not just in Haiti, the diaspora, there are people within the community that are different, and this is what we mean. And we are here to kind of be there for those people who have had similar experiences, who are looking for a community, and also for those who are not like us or think like us, whatever, just to say like, hey, we know someone that's kind of like that, who thinks like that. So, um, going through that journey, has made me think like, man, I don't know. I've never gone through this. I've never gone through this personally. I didn't know anybody. It's that, like the way I would explain to somebody, it's like that's not a thing. That's what your grandmother was talking about. That didn't exist. And so as a family, I thought about like, man, it'd be great to reach out, or maybe like kind of, yeah, reach out to somebody else who kind of been there, done that, and say, yeah, I've been there. I remember exactly, going through this, and this is what happened, and this is where we are now. So I kind of feel like we're making history on that tip. There might be somebody else, but I don't know if they're making YouTube videos about it. So hopefully this helps out somebody in the future, which is why I said in the beginning that kind of ties to Pride Month, because here in the Atlanta area, it's a big deal. It's all over um, downtown, and all the big players seem to be getting along with it. But it's not all positive, and that ties into something that I've learned through you, about kind of like our home state, Florida. And I remember you make comments like, "Oh, there's people that's trying to do things to hurt, people in the LGBT." And I remember like saying like, "What are you talking about? That's crazy." Um, but that was before I think Ron DeSantis became governor, and then or during that time. And yeah, so it's a thing. People uh are contentious about uh LGBT people, and there are people that are they're doing things, legislation wise, to kind of what's the word? I don't know if suppress is the right word, but definitely not make it easy on LGBT people. I still think that, overall it's a net progress forward, but obviously there's still some more to do. So, hey, everybody, if you're enjoying this, like, subscribe, reach out, join, share, comment, good or bad. If you have a bad comment, explain why you don't like it, why it's all good. I want to also mention that the Florida Panthers are doing awesome. You see, this is the old school jersey. For those who know, I mean, the jersey changed, but the awesomeness is hot. I'm wearing my 2013 Heat Championship jersey, hat, sorry. So I'm just trying to summon the championship spirit. We have one more to go before we go to the Stanley Cup, so that's great. It's been 55 minutes past the hour. The time is flying by, and you've been a great interview. Thank you so much for sharing. Um, for those who want to contact us, Haitian Freethinkers, HaitianFreethinkers@gmail.com. The Google voice number 678-820-9474. That includes being on WhatsApp, so you can text. There's no excuses. You can leave voice messages. Um, and if you're on Facebook, join the group if you want to, or leave a message. Support, support, support. We are here trying to support people. Um, yeah, so within the Haitian LGBT, it's like, it's already tough, but it gets more tough in some communities. So Haitian wise, man, Charles Jourdi got martyred. I mean, and he was part of, I don't know if he started this group called Courage, and that's spelled Kouraj. And after he got killed, I was so kind of hurt about it that I kind of not forgot about it. I just thought that it fizzled, because like the way I thought was Haitian free thinkers is kind of like me, and Courage was like Charlo, and since Charlo got killed, maybe the organization stopped. But I just checked before the show. It's they have a new person I think in charge. I was trying to reach out to some members. I found another transgender Haitian person on Facebook, and we've been in communication. I'm always trying to get people that I find interesting on the show, but it hasn't happened yet. But we'll see. Um, and of course, we're more than that. We're more than atheists and LGBT members and Florida Panthers fans. We're regular human beings. So, um, anything else about you that you want to share about the people? Your interests. You know, things that make you who you are.
Um, well, I guess I you talk so much about um Haitians and being a Haitian free thinker, but I would like to share with the class I am mixed. I'm Blasian, my mother Haitian, and this is my stepfather. So my real father was from Bangladesh. So I'm more than just a Haitian in that way too. And I also wanted to say that I've also only ever met one other Haitian transgender, and she was a horrible person. So I also wanted to be like, everybody can be anything, and that also includes being a complete jerk. um, that's it though. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, Now people are joining. I see two, the number two, the eyeball with two. So if you're on, let me see if I can put on the private chat, the comments. Look, I get it. The show came on. I advertised it a little bit, but it's okay because it's gonna be on Facebook. You're gonna be able to re-see it. I hope you're okay with it being recorded. It's gonna be shared, and I think it was a great interview. I'm comfortable um, with what's to come. I think more people need to see it and learn and reach out and be awesome and positive. So as we wrap up, we come close to the end, and thank you for those who are live watching it. What are some things that we should be looking for? You look for you or you're looking forward to for the future?
Um, Graduating. I'm looking forward to graduating.
And what are you studying?
Chemistry. General
Interesting.
chemistry.
Okay. Chemistry. Awesome. Uh, yeah, I think we touched on all the bases. Do you have any questions for moi?
Oh, I don't like suddenly becoming the interviewer. I feel like I do have questions that are just not coming up.
Okay,
I
well, if you
mean,
ever,
what gave you the idea to start everything? Haitian free thinkers, what made you an atheist?
what made me an atheist? The short answer is I read the Bible.
That
Uh,
is a very short answer.
very short answer. The long answer has been documented before, but basically, when I was deployed in Iraq as a soldier, for those who don't know, I was in the army, went to that horrible war, really thought I was going to die. I was a Christian at the time. I really wanted to know, I was pretty sure I was going to die, so I wanted to know what was going to happen when I get to heaven. Nobody from my religious upbringing really went into depth about the everyday nooks and cranny what happens in in heaven. So they talk about it's a wonderful place. You may get your own mansion, streets of gold, things like that. But if you don't read the Bible, you don't know whether or not that's in there. So I started reading the Bible because I had the time to do so. So what I did was I did something that I recommend to everybody, believers or not, which is erase everything you've been told, try to, and then reinstall like the software if you were to use the Bible as a software. Um, the analogy I tell people is like, let's say your computer is not working, you just wipe it clean and then you do a fresh install just in case you get some bugs in there. And then, so that's what I did. I started from the beginning. I stopped in Isaiah. I had a lot of questions, and then I just kept researching. It wasn't easy. It didn't happen overnight, and then by asking the proper questions and being and doing a lot of work, I got baptized. Anyway, so in August, well, I started to I went to a meetup with some atheists, and I just realized like these are my people. That's my tribe. Even though I thought that they were nerds or whatever. I was like, wait, these are regular people, and I guess I'm a nerd too, and it's okay. And but yeah, so that was the process. But it's and it wasn't over. By no means when I understood I was an atheist. And then for Haitian free thinkers, I was at the South Florida atheist meetup convention, and I was sitting next to James Randi, rest in peace, the great James Randi, and we were talking about how like basically no, I was just thinking about how, man, like it's so difficult to be an atheist in the United States, a place that has access to unlimited information. Like what about the people back in Haiti and just Haitians in general? Like we need something for us. We need to have someone or something that speaks our language to know that knows our culture. And at the same time, I understood that was going to be very difficult. I'm like, yeah, somebody needs to do something. And then it dawned on me like, hey, I'm somebody. And so Haitian Free Thinkers started off like that. I used January 12th, 2012 as the start date because it was 2 years to the day of the Haitian earthquake. And Pat Robertson, who was a Christian uh, evangelist, said that the reason the earthquake happened was because the Haitian ancestors who fought for their freedom um, got their freedom by making a deal with the devil. And he's
Mm.
talking about the Haitian Revolution starting myth. I call it a myth because it's a story, it's a long story. And so that was pretty messed up, what he said. But, so that's how that started. And then, years later, here we are. And I'm trying to, again, spread awareness, um, kind of stir the pot a little bit, but at the same time, really focus on one, reaching out to people who are already understanding of what it is that we're all about, and two, being a good ambassador for those who don't understand. Um, yeah, so that's what Haitian Free Thinkers is all about. That's it.
Yes, it was
Okay,
a good answer.
thank you. I try not to get long-winded, but yeah. So, summer is about to start. Of course, like I said, June 1 is here, you know, and hopefully the Panthers win the championship in about 3 weeks or so. Um, and we're going to be doing some fun trips. So, for those of you who end up seeing this, reach out, let's talk, let's work something out. I've been chasing some of you. You notice I'm not doing it anymore. I have an all-star in the house, so I had to get this interview done, and it was a spectacular success. We're at 105 now. Unless you have anything else, we're going to conclude. Again, the two people that I see, the two eyeballs, thank you. Reach out to me. Let me know who you were. If you have any questions, I don't know. I don't see any comments popping up. So I had to start back with StreamYard. Um, if you guys don't know what StreamYard is, that's it's not a big deal. But StreamYard is the website that I use. You don't have to download anything. It connects to Facebook. It connects to um, Instagram. I just learned, but you have to like do some extra stuff. So right now I got to go into the page and the Haitian Free Thinkers Facebook page, and the Haitian Free Thinkers YouTube channel. So it's simultaneously broadcasting, but it will be recorded and be shareable soon. Yeah, unless we have anything else, thank you for joining me, sharing your time. Let's have a good night. Let's have a great summer. We're going to go to some wonderful places, and you'll be hearing more from us. Remember, if you're interested in us, we're interested in you. Reach out, Haitian Free Thinkers at Gmail, Haitian Free Thinkers on Instagram, Haitian Free Thinkers on Facebook. There's no reason not for me not to hear from you. Okay, guys, that's it. Oh, you want to plug any social media? You just want to say bye?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fun interview, my first interview. You can find me on Instagram if you really, really want to. I'm more of an
Mm.
art account than I am anything else. It's Wing It Six, WINGIT 6. That's it. Yeah.
All right, I'm Reggie Beloved, Facebook. I'm on Instagram too, but it's not about me. It's about Asian Free Thinkers. You guys have a great night, and I will see you next time. Hopefully, we have somebody else that will be just as interesting as you, Shane. That's going to be hard, but I'll do my best. All right, everybody, I'll see you later. Bye.